This week we're lucky enough to speak to Sarah Tiefenthaler of Yogaqua.com. Yogaqua is a natural extension of the timeless practice of yoga fused with the exciting art of stand-up paddleboarding.
Aloha and welcome to SUPfm, the podcast for stand-up paddleboarders everywhere. So with no further ado, let's get out on the water and on with the show. Here are your hosts, Nick and Simon.
So welcome to SUPfm, Sarah.
Thank you.
It's great to have you. So what exactly do you do? I mean, you're a yoga teacher first and foremost, right?
Well, when I started teaching yoga, it was immediately transferred onto a paddleboard, just the way timing had it. I went to Costa Rica to do my yoga teacher training, just regular yoga. I was there for a month, and the week I returned home, I was introduced to paddleboarding. And I jumped into my second teacher training on land when I got home. And so everything I was learning in the studio for my teacher training, I was taking out onto the water immediately. Like I never even took it into a studio, really. Like I just started putting together sequences on the board.
Cool. When was this? What year, more or less?
2010.
Okay. And was SUP yoga quite common around LA at that time?
No, it wasn't common anywhere. Like I was trying to search for tips and, some ideas for, what I was doing. And I couldn't find anyone out there that was doing it. Like, doesn't mean there wasn't anyone out there doing it, but they weren't searchable. So it was not common. Sure. Paddleboarding alone was still new to LA. Like that was the first time I'd ever tried it because a local paddleboard shop just opened up while I was out of town, basically. So that alone was still brand new.
And how did you discover yoga? What was the deal with that? Have you always been involved in yoga?
I discovered yoga years and years ago, but I didn't become passionate about it until, I don't know, about 6 years ago. I was working in the fashion industry for a while, and I started doing yoga after work to sort of unwind, and it became more than just a workout to me. I started diving into yoga in a deeper sense, studying meditation, the philosophy, and all of that. I just kind of became obsessed and dropped my fashion career to pursue yoga and find out what it was all about.
So you became a yoga instructor, and then how did it turn from yoga instructor into Yogaqua?
Well, that was all simultaneous because while I was doing my training to teach yoga in general, I was falling in love with paddleboarding. So during my teacher training, I was telling one of my other fellow students what I was doing, and they said, you know what, this is really cool. Like, it's not anywhere else right now. Like, you should get on this now and start a business before someone else does. Like, you should be the original. Like, I've never heard of it anywhere else. So this friend was a lawyer, and he helped me get incorporated, helped me with all the paperwork, and everything just sort of fell into place with Yogaqua in that way. Like, the right support I needed at the time presented itself, and it just kind of kept flowing to where I had my business launched just within a few months of making the decision. Yeah, I felt very supported by the universe, I feel like.
That must have been an exciting time, really exciting.
Yeah, it still is, yeah, because there's still a lot of growth ahead of me, and it's still blossoming, so it's a great adventure.
So what's it like at the moment? Are you based in LA and you got a team in LA? Because I also see you doing stuff in Greece as well. Is that correct?
Yeah. LA's the hometown for Yogaqua. That's where it all began. But I partnered up with a 5-star hotel in Greece about 3 years ago. They contacted me because they were expanding and developing their wellness program and heard about Yogaqua because they saw an article about it in London magazine. So we put together a program, and I train instructors and send them out there. It's a seasonal hotel, so it's open May through September. I go out every year as well. I'm heading out there actually on Tuesday. I'm going to be leading a retreat the first week of May and a teacher training the second week of May to kick off the season. And then there'll be an instructor there throughout September to do regular classes as well.
Fantastic. But I mean, if you're going to go to Greece, why not go to Polynesia or Tahiti or something?
I
I mean,
know.
are you thinking about expanding it?
Yeah, definitely. This is just the beginning. So, yeah, I want Yogaqua to be available all over the world. I want to I want it to become lifestyle. Like it's not just a fitness activity. It's part of who you are, and I want it to be available for people to travel and meet other people that are doing Yogaqua and have retreats going on all throughout the year and also expand in California, up and down the coast here. There's lots of places that are perfect for it right here as well.
Sure. But I mean, from my perspective as a middle-aged male, it seems to me that yoga is a very much female-centric thing. Do guys do a lot of it in LA, or what's the sort of distribution?
I know that's the common thought for guys, that yoga is more of a girl thing, but luckily more guys are getting into it now all the time, which is really cool to see. I mean, typically, the percentage is like 80% women, like on land or on the water, but it is starting to grow. Like I have more guys coming out all the time. I would love to get a guy instructor at some point. And I mean,
yeah, that could probably help get more guys involved, right?
yeah, well, maybe not, because I feel like if a guy's going to come take a class on the water, he wants to look at the girls in the bikinis. So I don't know. So it might get just even more girls come out. I'm not sure, but it'd still be nice.
It sounds like you've got to try it out,
Yeah.
see what happens. But as far as SUP yoga goes and proper yoga, can you actually do proper yoga? Because pardon my ignorance, I don't really know that much about yoga. But can you do a proper yoga session on the water? Totally.
You really can. You can do any poses you're doing in the studio on the water. I've experimented with all of them, so I can tell you confidently that you can. And it doesn't mean they're not more challenging, because they definitely are. But the way I teach my classes on the water, I'm not just giving you the poses out of the studio onto the water. Like I'm customizing them to the board so that you can come into them successfully without falling into the water every 5 minutes. So there is a proper way to do it. You're just kind of translating all these poses onto the board.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying some poses today and it wasn't working very well. Maybe I should
Well, you
get
need the right teacher.
Yeah, I need an instructor for sure. But I saw as well that you appeared in a National Geographic show, Remote Survival. What
Yes.
did that involve, and what was that all about?
So they found me for that show. I was not looking for that type of experience, but they were they were looking for outdoor enthusiasts with no survival skills, and I guess I fell into that category. And I guess I was the only girl that was willing to do something like that, because it was me and 7 other guys that were chosen. But it was hard. It was intense, but definitely one of the coolest experiences of my life. I learned a lot about surviving in the wilderness. I learned a lot about me. I learned a lot about what the human body is really capable of. And it was really a life-changing experience for sure. And even though it was TV, like they didn't help me at all. Like even when
But there was a guy on the other end of the TV, right, giving you instructions all the time, wasn't he?
Yeah, like in that sense I was being helped. But like, I mean, there was no one there like giving me water or food. Like I was literally like out there, fending for myself, aside from the instruction through the earpiece.
So for those of us who haven't seen it, what exactly did it entail, and where was it?
So I was in the northwest corner of Washington, up in the mountains. I was crossing through rivers. I was on beaches. I was in a swamp. And basically I was dropped off out in the middle of nowhere. And I had to get from point A to point B. And I had to trust the guidance of my survival expert that was, in the earpiece. And I had no food or water. I had a knife, a rope, and a flint thing, like to make sparks to make a fire. And that was it. And
That was it.
Yeah, and I was out there for 2 days, and so it was pretty intense.
Yeah, it sounds incredible. So how long ago was that?
That was last June.
Okay, so are you getting a lot more media stuff because of that? A lot more media work because of that?
Yeah, I mean, new things are popping up all the time. Like you'll see me on an Old Navy commercial this summer. doing yoga on the paddleboard out in the open ocean. There's a travel channel show I recently worked with that I'm not sure when that's airing though, but yeah, there's lots of fun stuff coming up all the time. So I'm having a great time with all of it.
Because it sounds like it's a bit of a conflict with Yogaqua, or is that definitely your primary passion?
Yeah, Yogaqua is definitely the passion, but also traveling and exploring. But that's why I want to tie the two together and expand Yogaqua all over the world, so it can all go hand in hand.
And you're exploring. Have you ever thought about doing any crazy adventures like paddleboarding down the Mississippi or the Amazon or something like that?
Yeah, I'm pretty much open to any kind of crazy adventure.
So have you got any plans for anything?
Well, this year I'm traveling a lot already because I'm working with the yoga festival Wanderlust. And I've been hired to manage the SUP yoga program for the entire year. So the first festival was in February in Hawaii. And then the next festivals start off in June and go through August. And those are all over the U.S. and Canada. But it's pretty constant throughout those summer months. So when I'm not there, I'll be here in California teaching my regular classes and back and forth. So I'll be bouncing all around this year.
Wow, it sounds like a hectic year. So
yeah.
SUP yoga itself, are there any international institutions and how do people go about promoting it or trying to find and do it?
To be certified and teach. Yeah, I mean, like I offer a teacher training certification through Yogaqua, but there's new companies popping up all the time that are doing the same thing. What I've noticed most is that there are companies offering these weekend trainings, like literally 2 days. And, doing this as long as I have, I know that you can't properly train someone in 2 days. So it really makes me nervous to see those. Sure. Mine, and I mean, I do mine in 7 days, which is already, I feel like, cutting it close. But I mean, you're not just teaching a yoga class, you're out on the water and, you're responsible for people's safety. And there's a lot of different factors to consider when doing that. So I take it really seriously. So I offer really, really thorough trainings.
Sure. But I think a lot of these things, like we have the ASI, the Academy of Surf Instructors. Right. And once you become an accredited SUP instructor, then they have a yoga channel which you can go into afterwards and do a yoga certification. So they've built up all that safety beforehand, I think, and then they're adding yoga on the top. Mm-hmm. But would you feel that an instructor would definitely have to have yoga experience before?
Yeah. If I'm going to hire someone to teach for Yogaqua, they still have to already have at least 200 hours of training for regular yoga in a studio. So they need to already have that in order to bring it out to the boards.
And I heard that you're an enthusiast for cleaning up the ocean and ecology of the wildlife. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I coordinate regular water cleanups throughout the year. The next one I have coming up, I believe it's May 26th, and I'm doing that in partnership with Lululemon. So we're going to make a little, afternoon out of it. We're going to be on the water, getting trash out of the water, as well as we'll have people on the beach doing a beach cleanup, and everyone's reward that day will be yoga on the water and on the beach. And
so where is that?
That'll be in Marina Del Rey, Mother's Beach.
And that's your home base, obviously.
Yep. Yeah.
Cool. Great. Okay. Simon, do you have any questions at all?
Hi, Sarah. How does Skiathos grab you? Because I've spent a little time on the island. It's absolutely perfect place for yoga.
Yeah, I love it there. I'm so excited to get over there. I'll be spending 3 weeks, and I can't wait. It's so beautiful. It's so charming. I love the little, downtown area, and the Princess Hotel is really fabulous. It's just wonderful, and yeah, I love every minute spent there.
Yeah, it's got a very interesting airport, hasn't it, on the way in?
Oh yeah.
Well, what's interesting about it?
It's about the size of a postage stamp, so it's a bit alarming when you go in, but it's definitely worth the experience.
Oh, and the water there is just so beautiful. It's so blue and it's warm and it's clear. It's just magical. I really love it.
And I don't know whether you saw the film Mamma Mia, but that was all shot around there. So anyone wanting to see what it's like, that's the place.
Exactly. Yep.
So Sarah, have you done some work for SUPConnect? I saw some videos with yoga videos with SUPConnect.
Yeah, we did some like how-to videos for a while where I would each episode I would break down a different pose and walk you through step by step how to come into these poses on the paddleboard. That was a lot of fun. I'd like to do that again. That was a good time.
Yeah, I was just thinking that'd probably be quite a good thing for Yogaqua to do some video training on your like a course online. I don't know if you'd ever considered doing that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how are you quite close with the guys from SUPConnect?
Yeah. I haven't seen them in a while, but yeah, I know those guys pretty well.
Because they're probably one of the biggest SUP websites around, huh?
Yeah, they're great. They keep everyone pretty well informed. I get their emails every week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So do you check a lot of the stand-up paddling websites just to keep on top of things?
Well, I'm pretty dialed in with the social media, so I'm always checking out whatever's going on, whatever's new. So yeah, I'm always kind of staying in the loop as best I can.
So what's your preferred form of social media?
I really have a lot of fun with Instagram. I think that's my favorite.
Right. Yeah, somebody said it's overtaking Twitter the other day. Sarah, thanks so much for coming on. It would be really cool chatting to you. And we wish you all the best with Yogaqua. It sounds like an exciting business.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it. It definitely doesn't feel like work when you love something so much.
Thank you for listening to SUPfm, the #1 podcast for stand-up paddlers wherever you are. If you like what you've heard, please leave us a review on iTunes. Until then, we'll see you in the water.